she stopped short of an open-mouthed crevice, causing her to briefly panic. Composing herself, she regained her breath and made her way safely to the next guidepost. The adrenaline and excitement kept her warm. It surprised her that Max and the others had found something so close to their camp. By the time she got to the site, the visibility had improved. 3 of the team stood before her with their hood-covered faces. She could only distinguish them by the different colors of their coats. They had dug into the hard, icy surface, carving out a 2.5-foot shallow ditch. She watched as Max, in his orange coat, put another flag at the base of a jagged outcrop. She stood next to him, peering through her goggles at the 8-foot square that Max and 3 other men had marked. He shouted something, but she could not catch his words as they drifted on the wind. His muscular arm hugged her tightly, and he pointed to a section of the ice. As the wind died down and the blowing snow settled, she could see a shadow within the ice. Astounded and excited, butterflies dancing in her stomach, she could make out the outline of a body, but the feeling soon turned to an instinctive fear. She could not explain or put her finger on why, but whatever lurked beneath the ice stirred the same emotions of when she first heard of her father's passing. Dubbed the Ice Prince, a 15th century body was being documented and prepared for the refrigerated glass preservation case. Max Lowe enjoyed the attention that their discovery near the Romanian plain had brought, but Lucia Ferrara had already had enough of the world's press, scholars and archaeologists. Although interesting, she needed to get away, leaving her trusted friend, advisor and accountant, Morgan, to take care of business. The couple had taken some time out to sightsee and enjoy the local wines, homemade cheeses and grilled lamb pastrami. They spent 3 nights staying in a medieval mansion as a base for their sightseeing. During their stay they visited a monastery and the ruins of Castle Dracul, Panari. The guide had told them it was where the Dracula myth and legend was born. Max had complained for the duration of the trip, much to the annoyance of Lucia, saying they should have gone caving instead. They walked around the castle's strobe-lit secret winding tunnels. She had read a novel about Dracula in school and had seen the film on the big screen with Max on their first date. It wasn't very good, and neither was the film, as she recalled. Lucia was the glue in their relationship, and she had stuck with him through everything. But lately she found it difficult with the massive attention Max received after the magnificent find of the Ice Prince. Deep down she knew this was likely to escalate, and that Max would relish every second of it. It seemed as if he wanted to call out to his absent father and say, "Look what I've done, and I've done it without you being a part of my life." A curious brown paper package wound with string had been left at the hotel reception for Lucia and Max. It was addressed to Max, but as usual, Lucia opened it, where it would have remained sealed like all his other packages, letters, and utility bills back home. She carefully opened the package. Inside was what looked like an early 19th century hardback book. It was entitled Vampire and Vampire, Tale of Truth by Lazar Stefan and W.J.S. Abrahams. Lucia had read enough old books, flicking through the pages with careful fingers, feeling and smelling it. She knew it was the genuine article. What Max would do or want with a book like this, she had no idea. Max's idea of reading was usually limited to climbing and men's magazines, some of which she'd appeared in as a rock-scaling daredevil. She felt tired, so stayed behind at the hotel when Max had gone motorbiking. She took the opportunity to sit on the balcony with the book and take in the dramatic scenery of the surrounding hills cloaked in forest. She quickly scanned through the pages of the book. It was a collection of 2 separate accounts and observations, explaining in detail its origins and containing various additions and footnotes by a third party. Lucia noted that the 2 works had been combined in 1530 and that it had been first printed in 1606 using a woodblock. The second edition came much later in 1886, and this version in her hands had been printed in 1907. The first half was a 14th century Serbian journal entitled Vampire. As she read the first page, she found it amusing and somewhat cliché that she was in Transylvania reading a book about vampires. Lucia was fascinated by the content of the book, written in a period where the only significant Serbian writing of that time that she was aware of was a translation of a book about Alexander the Great. The second half of the book was Vampire, Tale of Truth, by W.J.S. Abrahams, who, as noted in the front of the book, had translated the Serbian journal into English and combined it